Welcome, and a big shout out to our friends in the US and Canada who are participating in launch and watching our Spring Launch Leadership Panel. My name is Mike Connaughton, and I'm the Vice President of US Sales here at Young Living. And I'm so excited because in this portion of Spring Launch, we're going to get insights on how to leverage the products and the bundles that were launched for spring to move your business forward in the coming months, and how to tie it all in with the Rise to Rank incentive to help yourself or those on your team who are running for executive or silver between now and convention. And we are thrilled to have 5 of our best leaders here with us today. Today we're going to hear from Diamond Bethany Shipley. She's from Kansas City. Silver, Anna Comer from North Carolina. Platinum leader from Colorado, Karen Serrano. And Crown Diamond from Florida, Jill Sager, as well as Crown Diamond from Kansas City, from Kansas, Jamie Nato. Now, thank you guys for so much for being here. Each and every one of you taking time out of your day to help us with this spring launch product. And Anna, we are going to jump right in with the first question. We're going to send it your way. So how will you use this event and the products and the swag and the bundles that we launched at Spring Launch to excite your team and get them into action?
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about this. I get so excited with any spring launch or any of the launches. And I think it's because we all remember the experience that we had with our first oil or our first Young Living product. And it was like our aha moment. And the reason I love launches so much is because we all get to have that experience together yet again. So I think my approach will really just be focused on highlighting the newness of all of the products, really cultivating that excitement together. And really taking advantage of different communication platforms, so text, email, and social media.
Awesome. Great way to get the word out through all platforms, because everybody has a different way of communicating, I guess, right? All right, Jamie, we are coming your way. So coming out of this event, what is the one thing that you will encourage your team to take action on?
If you want your team to show up, you need to be showing up. So I'm going to lead by example, and I'm going to be showing up on social media, telling you a story about one of the products that I love, just talking about overall, here's how this solves a problem for me. Here's why it's awesome. And this is why you need this. And I think when your team is watching you lead with excitement and you showing up, which is what Rise to Rank is all about, is showing up with consistency. And I'm teaching my team to do that by me doing that. So I'm going to do the old, you go first, right? I'm going to go first, and I hope my team is going to follow along.
I love that. Show up and lead with enthusiasm. I think the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack, but isn't it true that the attitude of the leader really sets the pace? I love that. I love that. I love that. All right, Bethany, coming your way. We did talk about that Rise to Rank. Jamie just mentioned the Rise to Rank incentive. So how do you leverage Rise to Rank in conjunction with Spring Launch to really move the needle in your business between now and convention?
I feel like one of the things that I found really more powerful than even just persuasion or trying to talk somebody into something or hype somebody up about something is really just getting excited myself about it. So if I can attract someone to this whole idea of like, you can go for this just because my energy is infectious, not because I'm trying to like say the right words or be like persuasive, I've found that that's more powerful. And my favorite way to do that is with recognition focus. So I have the app Oily Trends. And I know this sounds like such a simple thing. And even when I got this question ahead of time, I was like, what am I doing? You know, I almost felt like, am I doing enough? And I remembered that like the Oily Trends app has this little report you can pull basically to see who qualifies for the Rise to Rank challenge. And it not only shows you who qualified like for a new rank, but it also does the math for you to know who qualified. Maybe they like lost their rank and then regained it. And so what I've done is just started recognizing everyone publicly. So making little graphics and making them for Instagram and Facebook and tagging them and spending the time to write up why that person's awesome, and then making sure their team sees their leader as someone who's in momentum and moving. And we've only done that, you know, here for a little bit of time, but I can already tell just that recognition and that celebration of achievements has been a really good solid plan. So I'm going to continue doing that.
I love that you brought that up, because while we put this in place to really help people find their path to a new rank, one of the, I think, benefits that we didn't understand until it really took shape was this re-ranking process. And so many people have refound themselves, and they've kind of put themselves in a whole new mindset with the re-rank and the opportunity to be a part of that. So that's been really, really fun to see. So thank you, Bethany. All right, Karen, we've touched on this just a little bit, but what, in your opinion, what strategy has been most effective in getting your team to engage in Rise to Rank? I mean, we can put incentives out there and you can promote it, but getting engagement is a whole other thing. So tell us about that.
Absolutely. So I feel like I echo a lot of what Bethany said. But so last month I implemented a new system for my team. When the Rise to Rank kind of came forth, I felt like I needed to pivot in my business, and I feel like a lot of my team members also had to do it. So we created a new system which we call the Flourish Project, and it's a focused weekly plan. And honestly, so far it's been amazing. So I'm going to share a couple of examples of what we're doing. So for example, Mondays are Me Mondays, where we focus on personal business. So it can look like working on our personal calendars, scheduling classes, personal coaching, or anything along those lines. Then we've got Team Tuesday, and we focus on team calls or one-on-ones. I personally have a Calendly, so my team can schedule calls with me. So we do a lot of that on Tuesdays. Obviously, I'm usually pretty open, but I try to keep things kind of condensed to Tuesdays for calls. Then we've got Win Wednesdays. So we celebrate team wins and do shout outs. We've got Thank You Thursdays, where we reach out to our customers, we thank them, we offer product samples. And then finally, we've got Follow Up Friday, where we follow up with prospects and customers. This is truly such a simple system, but it really allows our people to stay organized and on task. And I've been loving it. They've been loving it. And again, it's so simple, and people aren't trying to figure out what they need to be doing on a daily basis.
Love that. Love the planning. You keep it simple, but you've got those daily engagements. I love that. When we talk about engagement, so many leaders now are going back to what you call the fundamentals or the basics of the business. And Jill, I'd love for you to expand on that. What basic activities are you encouraging and teaching, your team to do, whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly?
Yeah, and I love getting back to the basics because when I think about when I started back in 2014, I think about the excitement that I had when all I knew was the basics. I didn't have all of these other tools or things in order to do. And so it was, what can I do to get back to the basics? And I have been doing that most recently with the most success as well. And what I like to teach my team now is teach somebody else how to make $100. Because if you could imagine your entire team each bringing in $100 and knowing how to do that and do that well, and then they do the same thing, imagine what your organization would be. The entire Rise to Rank, you can build that off of teaching that simple make $100. And if we look at our comp plan, you can actually see how easy it is to do that by 25% of people that you are enrolling through your share link, you're getting 25% of what they're ordering. Make it so simple that when somebody comes in, they're like, I can do this too. Share your link. Give them the opportunities by inviting them into classes, by helping them host classes, by giving resources that they can share. It's all out there. It's just allowing yourself as a leader to teach other people you can do this, speaking that vision over them. The basic tasks that I have been teaching over and over are show your face, right? Whether it's in social media or it's in person, you gotta show up. Make offers for people to learn more. Invite them into classes. Invite them into the opportunity to smell the oil and experience the products. Post. You've got to make sure you're actually giving people an opportunity to learn more. Follow up. All those people that are starting to engage, you need to start following up with them. I like the idea, there's all these lists, right? Future diamonds, prospect lists. I like here to help. Who are you here to help? And what are those names and how can you help them? And then new people, you need to make sure that you're constantly connecting with new people, understanding that it's not about, well, I'm afraid, what are they going to think about me? But it's more about, What if that person doesn't get helped and you were the one that was supposed to make that connection? And so I really love to go back to those basic activities of teaching somebody how can they make $100, and it's based on showing up and doing those things over and over. It's not like, okay, at one point in your business, suddenly you have to learn all these new things. No, I'm still doing these basics, and that's where we're seeing the growth.
I love that. I mean, just to simplify, show up and show others how to get a win. I mean, really, that is so critical and key and awesome. Thank you. So coming right back to you, Jill, you answered that so well. You get another question right away. Tools. What tools do you leverage, if any, to really help your team accelerate their growth? I mean, there's lots of resources out there. Tell us what you're using.
And the beauty is that there are so many resources, we don't have to recreate things. So, what I like to do is step back and think of, if I had no idea what Young Living was, what is my experience that I'm going to have going from, I don't know what the heck Young Living is, to being a customer, to getting on a loyalty program, to then being a brand partner, and saying, okay, would I sign up with myself if I treated myself that way? So, what classes can I be invited to? How do I introduce the opportunity of what is loyalty? You know, how do I introduce that opportunity of brand partnership? And the beauty is, you don't have to create these things. We have open Team YL calls every single week for health education and for business. We have Team Young Living calls to learn about the opportunity every single week. So we don't have to go and create. We just have to make those appointments to invite people in, right? Being consistent with inviting people into what is already there. So the tools that I use are, where can I consistently invite people to learn more, either with myself or in classes? And then as they're going through that, learn the opportunity. Now that they're saying, hey, you know what? I want to do this brand partnership thing. What do I have in order to help them? We have the Rise booklet. We have all these tools in our virtual office. As a leader, again, how can I help that person make their first $100? What does that look like? Using the tools that are already in place. When you can always point people back to something that is already there, that builds consistency, which builds security, which builds safety, which I don't know about you, but those are my three favorite words when it comes to building a business.
Especially after the last year and a half or so, right? Everybody wants a safe place. I love the question that you posed at the beginning of that. Would I sign up with myself? What an important question, and something I think everybody should evaluate, and that's not even a part of this panel, but seriously, I think that's an incredibly important question to ask yourself for all of you that are out there watching. Okay, Karen. We can put things out there. We can provide great products and a great compensation plan, great promotions, great monthly incentives. But how do you get commitment? How do you get commitment from your team so you know who's working, whether it's Rise for Rank or anything going on in the month, or just to find their next pay raise by doing the right activities?
We've been keeping things simple, honestly. And like Jill mentioned, like going back to the basics, I've been personally reaching out, honestly, having that one to one connection with our brand partners and being able to establish that relationship, even if they're brand new, I feel is so critical. But another thing that I've been doing is I've been posting in our business group and just flat out asking who is running and like for Rise to Rank, or who's running for this or who's running for that. And you'd be surprised at the amount of people that end up commenting. And sometimes you have people that are sometimes silently watching on the sidelines. And once they see the excitement and the commitment from others, they end up jumping in as well. So it's been so great to see growth in really all aspects of this business, whether they have tiny goals or larger goals. I think just again going back to the basics, reaching out, establishing that personal relationship with them, and communicating one-on-one is definitely so important to get that commitment from our brand partners.
I love this. That thread through this has been showing up, positivity, creating a fun and exciting environment. I absolutely love that. Okay, so Bethany, let me come back to you. When somebody, we're talking about commitment here, when somebody raises their hand and says, "I'm in," whether it be Rise to Rank or just the business or whatever it is, How do you help them map out what those next steps should be to help them reach whatever that commitment is?
Yeah, I think I echo what Jamie was saying earlier with this as far as like if it's going to be duplicated, it needs to start with me. And so this last quarter, like January 1, I kind of put my stake in the ground for myself and said, "Hey, I'm going to get really organized like I was when I was first getting started. And I'm going to have a binder, and in that binder is going to have sections that has prospects, customers, and brand partners. And when I sit down to work, I'm going to talk to those people. I'm going to flip open my prospects or whatever. Like Jill said, you want to, who can I help? I call it friends who still need oils, and start talking to people. And it doesn't, for me, when I'm doing this, it's so simple, and it almost seems like it's not easy because of course there's that fear of rejection and everything, but it's so simple that I've found that when I can share that process, people like brand partners are like, oh, I could do that too. And so I would just like to echo what Karen was saying, and Jamie, and everyone is in the fact that like keeping it really simple and just remembering we are the connector between the product that we love that's helped us so much and the people that we know, and that is our job. And if we connect so many people to the products, then our job is to expand the network of people that we know. It's literally just that over and over and over again, and helping other people in our team do the same thing. So I guess to simplify even further with this question, the answer is just show them how to talk to people and how to be organized in which people they're talking to. And the rest is just a matter of staying plugged in.
That's awesome. And that is so critical because people don't know sometimes what their voice is. They might know what they want to share, but they're not sure how to do it. So I love that. Getting people to map out those steps, get organized, make a commitment is one thing. But we all know that life throws all sorts of things at us. So the question for you, Anna, is how do you help them and partner with them to be accountable to those goals? We know those goals are important, but we also know how much can get in the way and get in the minds of some that might just take them away from those goals.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think first off, like setting really healthy expectations is kind of been like my strategy when I have a call with a brand partner, I'm sitting down with someone as we make their plan. So even for the ones who have said, yeah, I want to run for Rise to Rank, the first thing we did was, okay, what's your expectation here? Like, what do you see for yourself? Other than just, these amazing incentives, like other than just winning a bunch of free oils, what do you want at the end of this? Where do you want to be at the end of this? Because I find that when you have healthy expectations, it leaves no space for disappointment. And that disappointment is usually what comes when that discouragement hits. And so I feel like if you have that conversation on the forefront, we have a healthy expectation of the timeline, and usually can come into it with like clear minds. So that's the first thing. And then I would say communication. A lot of what we've all kind of been saying in this chat and on this panel, communication is so huge here, and I've seen it, and I've seen what happens when I don't communicate and I don't have that like consistency there, and it feels really tedious. I know, especially as your businesses continue to grow and there's more and more here like running with you, it can feel really, yeah, really tedious, but it's so powerful because people feel so seen. And so I have just really run with this, put my blinders on, head down, and I have specific, days of the week that I try to really like be consistent with this, but this looks like weekly check-ins with them on an individual like standpoint, but then also in our community threads or our Facebook groups and things like that to engage them. A few things that I ask them, and if my girls are watching this, they're gonna laugh, but usually they'll get like a text from me randomly throughout the week that's just 2 words: status report. And that's usually me just saying, how are we feeling? What's going on? Where are we? And then I ask them pretty specific questions like, what are you doing today to move towards your goals? How are you feeling about your journey this far? I love that question because it makes them kind of pause and reflect, because sometimes we can get really like tunnel vision on a goal. I know that I can. And if I don't pause to reflect, I can start to feel a little bit of burnout. So reflecting on the journey, and then how are you helping someone pursue clean living today? And then how are you helping someone grow today? And I find that that has been really, really helpful. And also, to piggyback off of what Bethany mentioned earlier, making sure that they feel seen in the small things and the big things, like celebrating big wins, celebrating the small wins, and also doing what I can by incentivizing them along the way, even if it's something small like coffee on me today for doing blank, 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 because I feel like that kind of helps on the run. So, yeah.
Perfect segue into our next question. But before I fully execute the segue, wanted to say a couple of things. I think it's important that the commitments are important and the expectations certainly important. But if you don't have an accountability partner, find one. For all of you guys watching, and sometimes that could be your upline, some that could be somebody that you've met at an event, but have an accountability partner, somebody that can provide those check-ins if you're not getting that. But you talked about celebrating the wins. So let's talk a little bit, Karen, about your celebration strategy. What are you doing on a weekly or a monthly basis to celebrate those small wins and keep people excited?
Yeah, oh my gosh. So, kind of going back to what I shared earlier with our Flourish project, I find that has been so helpful with our like Win Wednesday or weekly win posts, because we're literally celebrating every single thing, whether they shared a post, they showed up, they showed their face for the first time on Instagram, they booked their first class, they reached out to their first prospect. I think every single milestone is worth celebrating. We are also welcoming every single new brand partner with a shout out. I feel that that is so important to start cultivating that community. And then people start cheering each other on, and it's such a beautiful thing to see. We also celebrate every single rank advancement with a post in our business group. And then finally, I am also mailing out for every single person. Well, I started this before. I used to do only my personal enrollments, but I have also taken on the task to celebrate every single brand partner who is working and rank advancing, and I think they are all worth celebrating. So, kind of going with the theme of my Flourish project, I created a recipe card. It says "Flourish with Purpose." And there was something that I learned in January at the, oh my gosh, what was the event called? I don't remember now. Um, yes, at New Year kickoff. We talked about the power of one. And I put a quote here on the back, and it says, "Power of one." And it says, "Helping one person might not change the whole world, but it could change the whole world for one person." And I think sometimes we forget that making an impact on one person could be such a huge thing. I think we think that we have to be bringing in all these new customers and all these new brand partners, and we end up looking at the big picture, but then we forget about the small picture. And even if you're making an impact on one person every single month, you don't know the type of impact that can have on them, but also on you and your business. So celebrate all the small wins. It doesn't matter how small. Shouting people out, I think, is so important. And yeah, that's basically it.
Well, I've witnessed firsthand, and I've only been with Young Living for 2.5 years, but this community is second to none. And the power that each of you have, each of you collectively, not just our panelists, but each of you, is immeasurable. I've never seen a community that can move mountains or oils, for that matter, like you can. So I love that. Love that. Thank you so much, Karen. All right, last question in our panel goes to Jamie. Jamie, this is a promotion that was announced in January. It started in February, and we're not going to really celebrate. We're going to celebrate along the way, but we've got through the end of June for all of these wonderful people that are moving and working for Rise to Rank, which is a long time for an incentive like this. As a leader, how will you keep the momentum? How would you encourage others to keep the momentum high each and every week as we move through to convention and on through the end of June?
Yeah, I think when you talk about sustainability, it is so important that you know that to keep something sustaining, you have to be true to yourself. And I think if you're not true to yourself, you can't like live a lie and carry that on for so long, right? So you have to be true to yourself. And for me, for a little bit, I stopped talking about the business opportunity. for a little bit, I mean, I wasn't really showing up that much with talking about oils. I was talking about a lot of other stuff, but I wasn't talking about these products that I use every day. And when I stopped talking about them, because I did use them every day, and because the business consistently changes my life and is still changing my life today, I was being disingenuous by not showing up and telling people this business model, this rise to rank is incredible. Not because, like they were saying before, you get all these oils and it's fun and you get the like pats on the back. That is awesome. The reason why Young Living has put this in, given you these steps to do this specific thing, is because they know that if we get this business model into people's hands, it changes our lives. I would have a very, very different life. My children would have a very, very different life if it wasn't for this business model, if it wasn't for these magic plants in a bottle. Like, it would be a very different life. And when I don't talk about that, and when I act like, oh no, I don't use DiGize every 4 minutes. When I act like I don't have gut problems, okay, guys, when I act like that, it's being disingenuous to myself because I am loading that diffuser up every night. I'm having a restful time with that frankincense and lavender. You got to try it. And when I'm not sharing that, what I'm doing is I'm not able to sustain anything because I'm not being true to myself. So I think maybe this isn't the way you wanted me to answer this question, but I think true sustainability is by being true to yourself. That gives you a really long run. And this business is a long run, right? We're not doing just a quick sprint. This is a long run. And to sustain that kind of energy and that kind of excitement that Bethany was talking about earlier, that charisma, that energy, to sustain that, you have to be yourself. And that's important. Show up with your personality. Show up with your product. There is enough room in this magical business for everyone, right? Like, show up as yourself with your product and just see what happens. And I think if you try to be someone else and you're looking at someone else and saying like they were really successful by doing it this way, that isn't sustainable. I have a friend who built her whole business on like her house smelling good and all these blends, and like she just shines at like, the dupes of the candles that you can get in a really popular store. That is how she shines. When I talk about making your house smell good, my people are like, she's been kidnapped because we want to know about your gut health. Tell us about, I was gonna say bowel movements, but I said it. Okay, tell us about that. And, because that's what I talk about. I talk about these like gut health issues and stuff like that. But guess what? That's what I can sell. That's what I shine in. And it's not like, if she were to talk about that stuff with me, people would be like, stop, we're unfollowing. No, but somehow with me, it's my niche. So just stay true to yourself. That's sustainable. And what I'm actually saying is just showing up. What we've all said is you showing up, being consistent. That's how Rise to Rank works. That's why Rise to Rank works, is that we are all showing up consistently, and you're building trust by being yourself and showing up with your product and showing up with this incredible business model. And you're doing it just really consistently to where people say, well, this is the 18th time. I guess I'm going to have to click that link.
I love that. I think it goes back to the question: would you sign up with yourself? And I too am a avid user of DiGize, Jamie. So you're not alone in that. That's probably my most used product. I hate to admit it, but I want to just thank you guys. I want to thank everybody that's here watching the panel, first and foremost, for giving of your time, and encourage you to use what you've learned today. And I want to thank each of our panelists. I want to give a big thanks to Bethany, Karen, Anna, Jill, and Jamie for being here today and sharing. Their words and experiences are incredibly valuable. They're valuable to fulfilling the Young Living mission of getting Young Living essential oils into every home around the world. And they're incredibly important. Their words are incredibly important in empowering each of you to be a part of the process. I mean, let's be honest. It's going to take all of us to accomplish our mission. It's going to be all of us. It's going to take all of us to move this company and to share the Young Living lifestyle. All of us locking arms to connect with those who haven't experienced the blessing of essential oils And I can't wait to see. We're all looking forward to celebrating your accomplishments, our accomplishments, from all of our viewers from the US and Canada at our North America convention just a few short months away in June. I'm so excited to see you do with all these great products from Spring Launch and this great wisdom from our leaders. Can't wait to see you here in Salt Lake City in just a couple of months. Thanks for being here, everybody, and have a wonderful day.